All right, so it looks like it didn't do it. Let's do a little :E. Are you ready? Well, that was boring. We'll quit and then we'll open it back up, okay? Let's go into After, plug in Tree Sitter. Oh, that looks so much So I am gonna do this. I am going to write my Neovim config from scratch. No, I mean, really from scratch. All right, so this is going to include my favorite plugins that I use, the best remaps of your lifetime, LSP, Tree Sitter, some basic editor settings, the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to do it from the vanilla Neovim experience all the way up to the Giga Chad Neovim experience. So I hope that you've already pre-liked the video right there. Just press it right now. And once you do that, you can keep on going down. You can go check out my new VimRC on the GitHub link provided. All right, so I guess the first thing I need to do is create the Neovim directory, cd into it, and open up Vim. Now, this is a terrifying screen right here. This is the default netrw experience, which is the file tree by Vim, along with the default color scheme, which is, I mean, cyan's never looked this good, okay? 2023 is going to be the year of cyan. I can feel it right here. If you don't know where to put this folder, this Neovim folder, just type in :HRTP. You'll see right here at the very top, this is where Neovim's going to look. And this bottom one right here, very important. We're going to use it as well. All right, so the first thing we have to do is press %, because that means create file, because that's the mnemonic that was chosen. I don't know. Anywho, just create an init.lua. This will be the first place that Neovim looks. I'm going to just type in print hello. If you're not familiar with Lua, it's a dead simple language. Look at that. Hello, bottom corner. Now let's press D. This will create a directory, not delete directory. Probably would have gone with capital D myself. All right, so let's create the Lua directory. Any directory within the Lua directory is requirable by Lua. So let's press enter, go right into the Lua directory, press D again. I'm going to create the Primogen directory. You create whatever, go Lua directory. All right, so let's create the Lua directory. Any directory within the Lua directory is requirable by Lua. So let's press enter, go right into the Lua directory, press D again. I'm going to create the Primogen directory. You create whatever you want to. Press enter again, %, yep, create file, init.lua. Go in here, print hello from the Primogen. Then I'm going to press capital EX. That stands for explore, brings back up that beautiful cyan netrw. Hit enter on the 2 dots, hit enter on the 2 dots, go back to our original one and require the Primogen. Remember, init.lua is like index.html. It's just like the one it goes to. Quit, open, beautiful. We got something good going here. So now let's make Vim usable. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a remap to make it really easy to go back into netrw, because I don't want to have to press :EX enter. I want something that feels a little bit faster to me. So I'm going to go down to Lua. I'm going to go into the Primogen, and I'm going to press %, to create that file again and call it remap.lua. In here, I'm going to type in vim.g.map leader equals a space, and then vim.keymap set in normal mode leader pv vim command ex. So what's going on here? If you're not familiar with remaps, effectively, while in normal mode, if I press leader pv, it will execute this command for me. Leader, of course, is the space. All right, just to test this out, let's go :so. This sources this file right here, and then space pv. Perfect. It's looking good. Now, the thing we can't forget to do is go over to my init file in the Primogen directory and go require the Primogen remap. By having this right here, it will automatically get sourced every single time Neovim gets opened. So quit, reopen it back up. Hello, the Primogen. Hello. Go into here, leader PV. Awesome. Now we're cruising. So the next thing we need to do is to get a plugin manager and a fuzzy finder, because I just feel like I need to be able to hop between files quickly, and nothing does that better than a fuzzy finder, except Harpoon. Shh. Having this right here, it will is the space. All right, just to test this out, let's go :so. This sources this file right here, and then space pv. Perfect. It's looking good. Now, the thing we can't forget to do is go over to my init file in the Primogen directory and go require the Primogen remap. By having this right here. Now, the thing we can't forget to do is go space PV. Perfect. It's looking good. Now, the thing we can't forget to do is go over to my init file in the Primeagen directory and go require the Primeagen remap. By having this right here, it will automatically get sourced every single time Neovim gets opened. So quit, reopen it back up. Hello, the Primeagen. Hello. Go into here, leader PV. Awesome. Now we're cruising. So the next thing we need to do is to get a plugin manager and a fuzzy finder, because I just feel like I need to be able to hop between files quickly, and nothing does that better than a fuzzy finder, except Harpoon. Shh. All right, so to get a plugin manager, all we need to do is go to the internet, go to packer.neovim, and from here, we're going to create one. There we go, and the function, haven't quit Vim, reopen it back up, go into Lua, go all the way to here, now do it. Awesome. We just installed Packer, so didn't know about it. So now let's type in Packer sync just to give it a go. Look at that, we got ourselves a plugin manager. Let's close it, let's go back to the internet, let's go to telescope.neovim. It is a fuzzy finder built by Telescopic Johnson and maintained by Connie. The true hero, really, the true hero. Let's scroll on down, copy this Packer statement right here, go down to an empty line, paste it in, typing in the command. So let's add some remaps. So leader PV brings back up netrw, back one, create a directory called after, go into after, create a directory called plugin, go and create a directory called after, brings back up out, simply typing in the command. So let's add some remaps. So leader PV brings back up netrw, back one, create a directory called after, go into after, create a directory called plugin, go into plugin, create telescope.lua. Lua. And now let's go back to Lua and grab these top two lines right here in the Lua section, copy it, paste it. Let's have our own key bindings. I want PF for project file. It's going to use find files. And then we're going to do one more. I'm going to jump in here and go CP for fuzzy finding. Go FF right here and get files. What this will do is allow me to have a git file search and then an all file search. Since right now I'm not in a git repository, I want to be able to just simply grab every file, and that is find files right here. But there's times where you only want to look at just files that are in Git. It's just much faster. Think of node modules, the heaviest thing in the universe. All right, so let's add one more remap. This one is super useful. I'm going to yank it from this one and go over here, and let's go PS for project search. And instead of using this, let's actually use a function. So I'm just going to write straight up code to just execute when I press this. Inside of here, I'm going to take in built-in and do grep string, providing a search term, which is going to be a Vim function input. And I'm going to provide grep just like that. Boom. Put a little semicolon at the end, even though I didn't need to. Do a little SO, and now I can type in leader PF. Look at that very horribly colored fuzzy finder. Let's go to up without simply typing in. The scope is now. And then, of course, packer sync, find it nicely, re-assign, paste down, and maintain Connie. The true hero, really, the true hero. Let's scroll on down, copy this packer statement right here, go down to an empty line, paste it in. I press equal to align it nicely, re-SO to shout it out again, and then, of course, packer sync one more time, and look at that. Telescope is now installed, but we don't have any ways to pull it up without simply typing in the command, so let's add some remaps. So leader PV brings back up netrw, back one, create a directory called after, go into after, create a directory called plugin, go into plugin, create telescope.lua, and now let's go back to Lua and grab these top two lines right here in the Lua section, copy it, paste it. Let's have our own key bindings. I want PF for project file. It's going to use find files. And then we're going to do one more. I'm going to jump in here and go CP for fuzzy finding. Go FF right here and get files. What this will do is allow me to have a git file search and then an all file search. Since right now I'm not in a git repository, I want to be able to just simply grab every file. And that is find files right here. But there's times where you only want to look at just files that are in Git. It's just much faster. Think of node modules, the heaviest thing in the universe. All right, so let's add one more remap. This one is super useful. I'm going to yank it from this one and go over here, and let's go PS for project search. And instead of using this, let's actually use a function. So I'm just going to write straight up code to just execute when I press this. Inside of here, I'm going to take in built-in and do grep string, providing a search term, which is going to be a Vim function input. And I'm going to provide grep just like that. Boom. Put a little semicolon at the end, even though I didn't need to. Do a little SO, and now Now I can type in liter PF. Look at that very horribly colored fuzzy finder. Let's go to Packer. Wonderful. I can even do liter PS, which is going to give me a little grep string down there. And let's find everywhere that we say the word requires. Look at that. We only have it in one little place right there. That's pretty cool, right? And then, of course, Control P, it errors. We're not in it. We're not in the Git directory. This doesn't count, correct? No, it doesn't count. But honestly, the cyan's not working for me, okay? I thought cyan was going to be 2023. It's not going to be. So let's add a color scheme. All right, so I chose Rose Pine for Neovim. I'm going to come down here, copy this line right here for the Packer install, paste it in, equal AP for that beautiful 8-space index. All right, so I chose Rose 2023. Doesn't count. But we're not in it. We're not in the Git directory. It's right there. That's pretty cool, right? Say the word requires. Look, which is going to give me a little grep string down. Wonderful. That very need to do a little SO, and now I can type Type in leader PF. Look at that very horribly colored fuzzy finder. Let's go to Packer. Wonderful. I can even do leader PS, which is going to give me a little grep string down there. And let's find everywhere that we say the word requires. Look at that. We only have it in one little place right there. That's pretty cool, right? And then of course, Control P, it errors. We're not in a Git directory. This doesn't count, correct? No, it doesn't count. But honestly, the cyan's not working for me, okay? I thought cyan was going to be 2023. It's not going to be. So let's add a color scheme. All right, so I chose Rose Pine for Neovim. I'm gonna come down here, copy this line right here for the Packer install, paste it in, equal AP for that beautiful 8-space indenting, do a little SO, do a little Packer sync, watch it go, and fantastic. Rose Pine is installed, lost the waifu in the background, probably gained your subscription because you're so blown away at this point. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you, especially when I set up that LSP. I know you're gonna like the video. All right, so I see two things kind of wrong here. First off, our transparent background went away. And second off, the colors are just really not that great. So let's fix those two things. So the first one's not too hard to fix. Leader PV, jump back here, go into the after, go into plugin, create a file called colors.lua. Okay, so we need to do two things. One, we're gonna set the color scheme, and two, we're gonna set a transparent background. So I'm gonna create a global function. I know you don't have to do it this way. way. There's plenty of better ways to do it, but this is the way I have chosen. I'm going to make sure I color it, right? We're going to color color like this. It's just like the little background for flow. Here with tree or code, just indenting, uses it. Okay. Here, scroll on down and just grab their installation line right here. And now we need to translate this. Leader PF, going to open up my files, go all the way over to Packer, go equals different package. Realize that I break tree action because it's stuff. Copy this whole chunk of code. I'm going to go here. I don't have any parsers or anything set up. We need because look at this. It's disgusting looking. We don't have any to initialize tree sitter because look at this. It's disgusting. Lost that, so now I can just go tree sitter. Max already sitter. We need tree sitter. If you're not familiar with tree sitter allows for an amazingly fast parsing of your code that's in your editor right now, and it builds an incremental tree. So every change just changes one small part of it, and it provides highlighting. Vim's working on indenting, and it's incredibly fast. It puts VS Code to shame. And yes, Emacs already uses it, okay? And pretty much every other editor but VS Code. All right, so let's go to tree sitter right here. Scroll on down and just grab their installation line right here. And now we need to translate this. Put that in there. There we go. This one. Error. Do a little Packer sync. We lost that, so now I can just go Lua, color my pencils. But this time, everything's fine now. Okay. We don't have any parsers or anything set up to this, and I'm just going to copy this whole chunk of code because there's some things we're going to need in here. So copy it, leader PV, let's go back, go after, go plugin, go tree sitter.lua. Hopefully you're starting to see a pattern here. I create my tree, I install the plugin I want, I go to after, I add the file that kind of configures it. It's pretty straightforward. Let's paste in what we got from the internet, best way to do anything. And I'm going to add a couple items to this list because I also want help for the Vim help, and I also want JavaScript just in case I need to do some JavaScript or some TypeScript, because you never know. You just never know. Do I want to synchronously install it? No. Auto install? True. Ignore? Get the hell out of here. Here, erase that comment. I don't even know why I need it. Enable? Absolutely, we want those delicious highlights enabled. Get C out of there. Get this disable function out of there. We don't need it either. Do I want regex doing highlighting? No, I don't. Awesome. Let's do a little shout out. You'll notice that we start downloading parsers right away. These parsers will will help give us beautiful color. And hopefully when it finishes, we'll just automatically see it all done. If not, we'll make it happen. All right, so it looks like it didn't do it. Let's do a little :E. Are you ready? Well, that was significantly better. If we go back to that Packer file, tell me that does not look so much better. Before, it was just like only the strings got anything. Everything else was just white. This is the power of Tree Sitter. But can I show you just one more small thing, something I just absolutely love? Let's go here and type in Tree Sitter Playground Neovim. And go to this top option. Let's scroll down the page. Okay, it's just installed just like plug was. So I'm just going to grab this line, go all the way down here, paste it in, change plug to use. And call the function, shout it out, Packer sync. It's going to install Playground. I'm going to quit. Again, Lua color my pencils. Awesome. But now we get something amazing. I'm going to go like this. TS, here's all of our Tree Sitter functions, right? But I'm going to go TS Playground. After restarting Vim, we got this new function, TS Playground Toggle. Look at what happens when I do that. We get all this information. What is this? Well, this is the actual AST that exists right now inside of my editor due to Tree Sitter. This is what you now get access to if you ever wish to do any plugins. It is mind-blowing, the power that is contained now within your editor. And you get free access to it. There's 3 more plugins we need to install to make the Vim experience amazing. Let me show you them. So first one, of course, is mine, Harpoon. I just think it's a glorious way to navigate files. So I'm gonna copy the URL up there, copy that, jump into here, paste that in, shout it out, Packer sync it. All right, so Harpoon is installed. Let's just open up any file within the after directory. Leader PV opens up that netrw. Create harpoon.lua. Now we just need to do a quick configuration of Harpoon. Let's go like this. Local mark equals require harpoon.mark. Copy, paste, replace a mark with UI. And then, of course, now we just need to add some remaps. Now, before I do that, I immediately notice my wife who's gone. I'm scared. Okay, we're back.
Kevin Herrer became a member. Man became a member.
Thanks for becoming YouTube members. I appreciate that. Both of you. Blazingly appreciative. All right, so there's 6 remaps we need to do. Not too hard. A Vim key map set. In normal mode, I want to be able to press leader A and add the current file that I'm on to Harpoon. Copy that. Let's then do, say, Control E, and we can do UI toggle quick menu. And now I just need to be able to do my navigations. Jump over to here, do nav file 1, but since I'm calling it as a function, I need to wrap it in a function, so let's just wrap that in a function really quickly. There we go. Copy, paste, FHRT, Control A, paste, FHRN, Control A, paste, FHRS, Control A, boom, boom, boom. Shout this file out. Now we have a sweet navigation. When I press Control E, here's my Harpoon menu. We have no files in here. Leader A. We now have a file we can go right back to, of course, which is our Harpoon file. Let's load up our Packer file. Let's add that to our Harpoon list. Let's put that as number 1. Now we should be able to switch back and forth as fast as we'd like between Harpoon and Packer. All right, awesome. The next must-have plugin, of course, is Undo Tree right here. So I'm just going to copy the URL, jump back over here, copy, paste it in, shout it out, Packer sync, beautiful. Harpoon my way back to Harpoon. Open up netrw, create undo tree.lua, and now I need a remap. I need to be able to open up undo tree. Now I can't quite remember it, so let's just jump over here, scroll down. Here it is right here. Perfect. That's the one we want. I'm just going to paste that in. And I'm going to go Vim key map set normal mode, leader U, of course. I want leader U. And then all we need to do now is just go Vim command undo tree. Fantastic. Let's shout it out. Let's get our Do now is just go vim command leader u. Of course, I want leader u. And then all we need to do now is just go vim command undo tree. Fantastic. That's the one we want. I'm just going to paste that in, and I'm going to go vim key map set normal mode leader u. Of course, I want leader u. And then all we need to do now is just go vim command undo tree. Fantastic. Let's shout it out. Let's get our waifu back. And now if we press leader u, we can see everything we've done. So let's go back to Packer and go leader u. Now what you're going to see here is this little tree that's going on right here. So that means I should be able to see all the changes that we have recently made. So now if I go right here, this is a branch, right, in our undo history. So I could actually start editing this branch. And look at that. We actually have something moved around in here. That means I can actually go back to this one and start doing stuff in here as well. So if you ever have something that ends up being in the past, you can search for it via undo tree. It's very fantastic. Or if you ever actually accidentally make a change that you need to recover from. Undo tree is just so good. All right, one more. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to paste. I'm going to go like this. T Pope Vim Fugitive. I know the URL at this point. Shout it out. Packer sync it. We have fugitive. Again, get the waifu back, jump over to Harpoon, create a new file. Let's call it fugitive.lua. And now we just need to add a simple remap. Vim key map set in normal mode. If I press leader GS, stands for get status, that's how I think about it. I want to execute vim command get. Let's shout out this file, leader GS. I'm not in the Git repository, so just to try this thing out, go cd neovim get init. Awesome. Jump back here, leader GS. It's still not there because, Vim just didn't know I was there to begin with. Leader GS. Look at that. We now have the ability to manipulate and do stuff in Git. At this point, I think I have enough plugins to really be able to move. I have my undo tree, I have a fuzzy finder, I have Harpoon, I have Git integration, I have a nice color scheme. We're ready to rock. All that's truly left is the LSP, and we have an amazing Vim setup. All right, to set up the LSP, just go to LSP0. This thing is incredible. I actually really like it. And so we need to find the installation phase. So just go right here with this huge amount of different plugins that are just is an amalgamation of everything you used to have to configure, now just into a single plugin. Go back here, jump all the way down to Packer, paste everything in. I just have to format it, so let's do one of those. I still have 8 space indenting. We're going to change that here in a little bit. Now just do a little SO, and of course Packer sync. Now we're going to install all these other plugins that are all all related to LSP. I'm gonna quit that window, get the waifu back, jump back over to Harpoon, and let's create a new file called LSP.lua. And now we need to configure our LSP. So the easiest way to do that is actually just to jump up here and just grab this. This will give you a preset LSP, everything set up. Ready to rock just for you. I already have kind of some things that I like, so I need to kind of edit this setup a little bit. So I just pasted in mine. You don't need to see me me set everything up. Here we go. So I have TS Server, ESLint, some Neko, Lua, and Rust Analyzer. Edit this setup a little bit. So I just pasted in mine. You don't need to see me set everything up. Here we go. So I have TS Server, ESLint, some Neko, Lua, and Rust Analyzer. Fantastic. Here are some remaps I like for when I'm doing my completion. I like Control P and N to go, previous and next on my completion list. Control Y accepts it. Space starts the completion. I don't want any sign icons. Sign icons are just not for me. There we go. So I am gonna do this. I am going to write my Neovim config from scratch. No, I mean, what you're gonna see here is this little tree that's going on. Say day 1 from 2022 advent of code, we should have our LSP auto. So I just pasted in mine. You don't need to see me set everything up. Here we go. So I have TS server, ESLint, some Echo, Lua, and Rust Analyzer. Fantastic. Here are some remaps I like for when I'm doing my completion. I like Control P and N to go, previous and next on my completion list. Control Y accepts it. Space starts the completion. I don't want any sign icons. Sign icons are just not for me. There we go. We set up it with our custom mappings that I have for me. This last one is a doozy, but it's really cool. So on attach happens on every single buffer that has an LSP that's associated with it. That means I'm going to have all these remaps only exist for the current buffer that I'm on. Of course, a buffer being the text we're editing right here. That means these remaps only live for the life of this buffer, which means that if I go to something that doesn't have a buffer, I can still use GD for jump to definition, and it'll try to do Vim's best jump to definition effort. But if I do have an LSP, I'll use my LSP instead. This is a really handy thing to do. It might be a bit complex. I should probably take out this little print statement. I don't need help. I don't know what was going on there. But you get the idea. So now I'm just going to save this. And look at this. We're installing all these beautiful things. Awesome. We have everything installed. Now we're ready to rock. So I opened up my Advent of Code 2022. Notice I still have the hello from Primogen and hello. Let's go into here. Let's jump into, say, day 1 from 2022 Advent of Code. We should have our LSP automatically installed right here. Awesome, everything's getting highlighted, we're looking good. And I should just be able to start typing max. Look at this, you can see, all right, here's all the different things that are available. When I press this, we now see all the different things that are available for a usize integer, which means I can call sort by. Look at that, I can call sort on this. Oh, it's not a usize, it's this. Oh, this is a vector. Vector of usize, my bad. But there we go. LSP setup. It was that simple. You didn't have to do all the remaps. You could have just simply stuck with these 3 lines to have the default Neovim LSP 0 experience. That's pretty dang easy. It uses Mason under the hood if you're not familiar with Mason. Effectively, Mason allows you to just peruse packages and install anything at your will. Oh, you want Dino? Let's hit I. Boom. We are now installing Dino right now. Well, look at that. Look at it go. It's that easy. And if you open up a file in which it detects, it will ask you, hey, do you want to install the language server associated with this file type? It's pretty dang convenient. At this point, my Vim experience is pretty much on point, but it is missing a couple things. Notice I have no line numbers, no relative line numbers. I'm still indenting at 8 tab indents, right? So there's some basic sets that need to be set up for my Vim experience to be complete. And then I have some remaps that just really turbocharge my Vim experience. All right, so the first thing I want to do is go back to my init. Let's remove this hello statement. We just don't need it in there. Let's go back. Let's go into our init that's inside of the Primogen folder, and let's remove that one as well. All right, so now what we need to do is add some sets to make my editor experience a bit better, because I want to automatically have line numbers. I want them to automatically be relative. So as I move, I can kind of jump between the lines I want to be on. I want to be able to press 8 up and know I need to go to that line. All right, so let's add a set.lua. Let's make sure we go back to our init folder, copy that, jump over to this R and type in set. I want to make sure I have that set file. I should be able to use leader GD, and notice that it jumps over here to set.lua since we have LSP 0 installed. That's pretty handy. All right, so now it's just all my Vim sets I need to add. So instead of typing them, I just cut and paste them all in here. Let me go over them one at a time. I like a fat cursor. So right now when I press O and I go into insert mode, notice my cursor's really, really thin. Let's get out of insert mode. Let's type in shout out. Now notice some things just happened to my screen. But when I press O, I still have that fat cursor. It's just because I've been using Vim for just so long that it just feels normal and natural. Next, of course, line numbers. I want line numbers plus I want relative line numbers. So if I wanted to jump all the way down here to wrap, I just know to press 9K or J. Sorry, it's so ingrained in my head I don't even remember the directions it goes. This next one just makes me have 4 space indents. Hey Vim, try to be smart about my indenting. I don't like line wrap. I don't want Vim to do any backups, but instead I want my undo tree plugin to have access to long-running undos. That way I can undo things from days upon days ago. These next 2 are out of the world awesome. I do not like it when I search that it keeps the terms highlighted, but I love incremental search. Check this out. So if I go VIM, you'll notice that it's highlighting as I search. If I do $*, you'll notice it does the whole thing. If I do equal space, you can see it kind of going. So that way, if you have some tricky searches or even search and replaces that you're doing, you can use incremental search to really guide you if you're doing the right thing. I like good colors. The only thing really interesting in here, of course, is scroll off, which means that as I go down, I'll never have less than 8 characters towards the bottom except for when I'm at the end of a file. So if we were to add a bunch of spaces down here, as I would go upwards, you'll notice that it never has 8, or it never has less than 8. That's pretty cool, right? Fast update time. Great. Color column, great. And of course, I think this is just a better place to put my leader key. It's with all the other sets. All right, so the last thing I need to do is just simply do all my high-powered, amazing remaps. So let's go out here and let's create, let's just jump into remap and let's start putting them in right here. So I cut and paste my previous shortcuts that I used to have, but I realized that I had a convenience function for doing, say, normal mode or remap. It kind of feels like the old Vim way. So let's actually do a really amazing find and replace right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this $%S. That means do this for the entire file. I'm going to do a slash and I'm going to do a fightin' one-eyed Kirby, except for I just do a single dot. So it's going to grab everything that has a dot right here. Then I'm going to go nor map, no recursive mapping, opening parenthesis. Then I'm going to replace that with vim key map set quotes /1. Remember our first little match group that we did? So notice that our V right here, V nor map becomes right there. Oh yeah, so good. Look at that. Did it all throughout the entire thing right here. Hit enter. Everything has been remapped properly. Even the X mode right there. Let's go. Let me go over my remaps that I use. They're quite amazing. So these first two are out of this world. They use the move command. And what they allow me to do is when I'm highlighted, I can go like this. I can move things around. And if there is an if statement, then guess what? We can take these and we can move them in and they'll automatically indent. How beautiful is that? If you're not familiar with J simply takes the line below you and appends it to your current line with a space. This one allows your cursor to remain in the same place even though you're applying line after line instead of putting your cursor way over at the end, because every time I did it, my cursor would be way over here instead. I didn't want that. I wanted my J to stay in place. These next two are amazing. What they do is they allow Control D and U, which is half page jumping, to just keep my cursor in the middle. It helps me just look in one place as I move, and so it doesn't feel nearly as disorienting. These next two are also fantastic. It allows search terms to stay in the middle. So when I search for Vim, it'll just keep my cursor in the middle. These are for good times on Twitch. We're not going to talk about that. This one's fantastic. So check this one out. So you know how sometimes you have, like, say, foo, and then you have bar, and you highlight and copy foo, and then you highlight barb, and you want to paste foo over it without losing your foo current paste buffer? I have leader P. And what that's going to do is it's going to delete my highlighted word into the void register and then paste it over, because that means I still have foo preserved. How fantastic is that? For those that don't know Vim too well, what would have happened is this. I would have highlighted, pasted, and now I would just start pasting bar. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that. These next three are just awesome. Have to thank Asborn for these ones. Effectively, if I go leader Y, it now goes to this right here. You can see it right here, which is the plus register, which is also your system clipboard. So now if I go AP, yank this paragraph, what will happen is I can now press Control V and I can jump over here and I can start pasting those in somewhere else. So I just have to do leader Y to yank into my system clipboard, or just Y to have it only within Vim. That way I can have these two things separate, because it really sucks when they're together. Some more of that, like deleting to void register either in normal mode or in visual mode. I know you're going to make fun of me. There's one reason why I do this. That's because in vertical edit mode, if you just press Control C to exit, it won't actually save all these changes vertically. Instead, you have to press escape. It's the only thing that I can tell right now that's actually different between Control C and escape. So I just put a remap because I'm so used to it. Okay, I picked up the habit from IntelliJ 10 years ago. Give me a break. Don't ever press capital Q. Honestly, it's the worst place in the universe. This right here is fantastic. This allows me to press Control F, and now I can switch projects. I can go to Advent of Code 2022. Look at that. We're back in our Rust project. Let's go back via tmux previous session. Did you notice that little Control A, capital L? That's using tmux. How fantastic is that? Oh my goodness. Of course, this is just quick fix navigation. If you're not used to the quick fix list, it's just so good. This last one's like a pretty fun command. So if I go like this, space S, what it's going to do is it's going to give me this little menu right here. And now I can start replacing the word that I was on. Pretty cool, right? And I really do like this last one right here. To show you what it does, let's create one more file. Let's call it foo. Let's jump in here. Let's go octothorpe bang forward user bin env bash. Let's create a little bash script and let's go echo hello. And instead of doing that thing where you have to go, okay, bash can up, looks like I'm installing the bash tree sitter parser, thank you. So instead of going out to the command line and doing that chmod plus X path to this, I just go leader X and leader X. And what it's going to do, it's going to actually just make this into something that is executable. So when I go cd lua the primogen ls, you'll notice that foo is actually executable. Pretty cool, huh? Let me delete that, capital D deletes, boom. And there you go. We've just set up Vim to be amazing. We have git control, we have undo tree, we have LSP support, we have telescope fuzzy finding, we have harpoon, the greatest file navigator ever, tree sitter for amazing colors, awesome remaps to just make your Vim experience creamy smooth, and of course, sane default sets for a nice editor experience. So I hope that you really like this. Again, press the like button, okay? This was difficult. And also, if that find and replace was magic, say down in the comments below, let me know you want to see a video on just some sweet macro and search foo in Vim, and I can make it happen for you. Thank you. The name is the Primogen. If you haven't checked out kickstart.neovim, it's made by Telescopic Johnson. It's a great way to get started with Neovim. It gives you pretty much all the things you need off the rip. And it's going to have a lot of keys set up in a way that are more familiar, such as tab for scrolling through autocomplete, etc. So give it a check, throw a star on.